Hey everybody, I'm Mike, and this is Not Your MDFL podcast. As always, I am joined by Jason. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Jason's not here. It's Pittsburgh Dave. It's a new year. I'll give you some grace. So probably a little hungover from last night. I get it. We don't know
No,
where Jason in. He's a no-show tonight. It's all good though.
I'm sorry. We were just talking about Jason,
No,
but not being here, and then I even told Dave that I didn't drink a single thing last night, and I'm still feeling like mess today for whatever reason.
so
Um, but it is championship week. It is officially over, and we have a new champion, and it is the Denver Broncos. Sean Valentine won our league this year. Congratulations to you, sir.
congratulations, Sean, and that's 2 years in a championship game that he's made. So kudos to him, and he was a big winner this year, not only in the league but also financially.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of nice that we put a lot into this league. It is definitely worth the time and the effort, especially if you win it all, which makes it all worthwhile. But let's go ahead and we're going to talk about this championship week breakdown. We're going to look at Sean's improbable run to the Super Bowl winnings, and we'll talk about some off-season stuff as well.
What I
So
like about
Sean,
Mike, what I like about this year is that we got the 6 and the 7 seed playing each other. So both of them
yeah,
just make the playoffs, and they end up in the championship game. And I don't know about you, but I obviously had interest in this game, and this game held my interest until late in the fourth quarter as things were resolving. I mean, so kudos to the league and the down to the last game, 10-point difference. Can't ask for a better season or a championship game that everybody's on pins and needles seeing who's going to win. So,
yeah,
congrats to both
absolutely.
teams.
Even though that game last night got out of hand as the Vikings had the ball in garbage time, you knew Ty Chandler was going to stay involved, and therefore this thing could very well come down to the very end. If Chandler gets a score in there, there was a lot of game left, but yeah, unfortunately the Vikings just really could not move the ball against the Packers last night. So yeah, we'll look at these matchups here. So first and foremost is just the simple fact that Sean went into the playoffs without his starting quarterback, a very good starting quarterback in Justin Herbert, and had to go with a backup quarterback, not just one backup quarterback. He used a different backup quarterback on every week of the playoffs. He started week one with Tyrod Taylor for the Giants. Week two, he got the Christmas miracle in Rudolph on Christmas Eve, who is the game of his life, and then uses Jarrett Stidham in his first ever start for the
Sure, ever.
Broncos. That's first start ever, and gets 22 out of him for the championship. And let's go ahead and just mention that the very highly paid Josh Allen only scored two more points than Mr. Jarrett Stidham did here. So just frankly, the balls to make a gut call every single week and put a different quarterback in. Yeah, Sean, that alone, you earned it, man. This is
Yep.
it's a great run.
Kudos to Sean. Ballsy move.
Yeah, Saquon didn't do a whole lot for him last night. Cooks got in the end zone. St. Brown was doing his thing. Huge day out of Trevon Walker and Bobby Wagner doing his thing. He didn't really have anybody that like hugely went off here other than Trevon Walker. 6 tackles and a sack will definitely take that out of 1 year defensive ends any day. Of course, I don't, after that James Conner day, I really thought Sean was dead in the water.
Yeah,
Really was not sure that he could keep up. That was the biggest score in the entire matchup there. So really wasn't sure he could pull it off. Nick pointed it out, so we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So, the big decision for Rich going into this, Sean obviously had to make a decision on his quarterbacks. And if we go down, all of them scored 20 plus. So, any of the three would have been enough for him to secure the victory. Now, for Rich, though, definitely, his horses at this point have been McBride, Metcalf, Evans,
Evans.
and James Conner. His big question mark was, is he going to start Ty Chandler or Jalen Warren? And unfortunately for him, he made the wrong decision. He did start Ty Chandler, and the Vikings did not move the ball in that game. The difference being, where'd it go? 13.4 versus 25.5. That's 12 points. That is enough for Rich to have won. This is that time of year where over analysis can absolutely kill you. And it's not my move that's going to get overanalyzed. So just pointing out the elephant in the room.
Well, Rich has got all off season, and probably this is probably a T. Higgins moment for to go on for years. It's probably going to haunt Rich for quite a while. Regardless whether it was Chandler or Warren, to me, I still look at it as T.J. Watt. Where he was that day, I don't know. But only getting a tackle and an assist, 5.5 points. It's a season low for him. If he just does a couple things and does his average, grabs a couple tackles, even throws in a sack, and it's a different game. So, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Very true. Wild that, possibly the defensive player of the year here just only gets 1.5 tackles. And in a game they ended up winning on the road.
Yep. But still, it's a quality game. The fact that, they're both scoring 330, 340 points, and it's down to 10 points in a championship game. For the league, you can't ask for anything better than that. Very, very matched up evenly, and the chips didn't fall for Rich, like he'd been running with the last couple weeks before that in his run up on points. So.
Yeah, absolutely. This was not one of those cases where one team just happened to get lucky. I mean, the lowest scoring team in this was 331. So this was a dogfight to the very end, and there's nothing else you could ask for on championship week.
Yeah, both very respectable scores. And actually, if you look at all the scores throughout the playoffs, they were all in the 330s to 370, 380. So all very respectable scores.
I was going to look at that as well. The run to the championship here. Of course, Sean did catch Braxton on potentially his worst week of the season there. Which is going to happen. I mean, Dustin caught me on one of my worst week of the seasons. 270 for Eric. I'm sure he's not too proud of that one. But winning scores here 318, 333, 368. So the best teams win on,
Yep.
And then again, we had said from the very beginning that if it weren't for the Herbert injury, I probably would have taken Sean in a lot of these matchups, but we really didn't think he could pull this off with backup quarterbacks. Going into his matchup against Dustin, again, the Christmas miracle with Rudolph. And unfortunately, the Chiefs' offense, including Mahomes, has been pedestrian down the stretch. So I think Rudolph outscored Mahomes in that game.
Yep.
Then, of course, a crazy fight, getting 382 and 349 between the Bengals and the Dolphins. Again, no cheap shots, no luck anywhere in these, quarterfinal matchups, these week 16 matchups. The lowest scoring team put up 342. So, and then they'll lead into, again, 342 being the winning score in the championship. Dog fights till the very end.
Yep. It's a well-balanced league, well-balanced playoffs. It was fun. Even though I was on the outside, it was still fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I was, being that it was just kind of New Year's Eve and sort of watching that Sunday night football. There was sort of a a fun thing about that, kind of lining up on the same night and watching that and seeing that, this matchup was still coming down to essentially Ty Chandler's production and whether he could get, in the end zone at the end of that game. It was fun to watch for sure. So again, congrats to the Broncos for pulling it off. And again, three different backup quarterbacks in all 3 weeks of the playoffs, never scoring less than 340 in any one of his playoff matchups. 318, excuse me. You earned it, sir. Well done. Well done. Yeah, sorry, Rich man. I'm sure again you're gonna be thinking about that for a while, man, whether it was Warren or Chandler, but they were it was a fairly even. You can't really be blamed for going one way or the other.
No.
Both of those guys are kind of in a similar position with about the same amount of upside. You got good running back depth moving forward. We'll give you that. So, and I'm sure you're going to be right there in the thick of it next year, as long as you don't have a bunch of expiring contracts. So, but yeah, it was a great matchup. Dave, you want to talk about
I'll talk about the 217 pick. That came out very interesting. It'll be interesting when Nick posts it. Just some
yeah.
rough numbers. I don't have it down to the exact point, but congrats to Joey and his Patriots. In the 3-week total, he put up 923 points. I think he had a 351 this past weekend, so he scored well. But what I find interesting, though, is the number 2 teams. Well, actually, the number 2, 3, and 4 team either had 883 or 884 points, so very evenly matched, and the 5th place team was 873. So outside of Joey being up there around the 923 mark, he beat everybody by about 40 points. Teams 2 through 4, 2 through 5, very evenly matched, came down. Very strong showing by Gavin and his Ravens. So obviously that's a team to look forward to next year if Gavin can get a good draft and pick up some free agencies, fill in some holes. He may be a little bit more competitive this year. But anyways, he had a good final 3 weeks of the season also.
Yeah, he got himself a quarterback from me, and then he proceeded to put up MVP numbers the last month of the season.
Yep.
And he's going to find himself in a similar situation where his quarterback is going to hold out, except his is going to get a much smaller raise than mine is going to demand.
Yeah, we did. I did look at that today, and I do want to congratulate John Purdy being the top 5 quarterback for the year.
No,
outbeating Jordan Love by 5 points. So thank you for the pay raise to Purdy and not Jordan Love.
Man, if they only would have just had to have thrown it a little more down the stretch of that game, they didn't have it in the bag by the time the fourth quarter started. Jeez.
So
I was really hoping week 18 was in play, but Dave, of course, informed me the bylaws say week 17 is the cutoff for holdouts. So that means Mr. Purdy will officially be holding out and not Jordan Love. That's funny. It came down to those 2 guys and 5 points.
So you gotta just pull that up and see what our minimum salaries are. I think I looked at it. The average salary is probably going to go to about 18 million. So for Purdy's going to get himself a nice raise.
He is on the block, by the way. I am willing to trade MVP candidate, top 5 quarterback production. Brock Purdy is available.
Hit your players button and go down to QB over here.
Yeah,
right there. Hit QB on that. There you go.
So if we sort them by salary, though, it's the top 5 salary.
Top 10. The average of the top 10. So I think it's going to be right around that 18 million mark.
Yeah, you're right. Probably about 18. So only about a $17 million pay raise. I wish he could get that in real life living somewhere near San Francisco.
Either that or else he'd probably like to go back to college for another year and get himself some NIL money.
Yeah, no kidding. Poor guy probably didn't get paid a dime for his college ball, and he played all 4 years. Good stuff. Well, epic season and epic conclusion to the season. Congrats. Thanks, Rich, for coming in and tuning in for the show. Congrats for getting so far and having a really solid team. I mean, you had the highest scoring team, which means you're always going to be in it. So, and you were in it till literally the very final play of the final game. So, awesome season. Again, congrats to the Broncos for pulling it off in his improbable run with three different backup quarterbacks. What a story to tell.
Yep. Two other things I just want to announce. I think Rick, or about the beginning of the show, Nick put up the in the announcements the money earnings for the year to be paid out January 20th in our owners meeting. So Nick or not Nick, but Sean and Rich paid very well for making that championship game. So
Yep, absolutely, and they deserve it.
yep, congrats to both
Um,
of them. So other than that, owners meeting is January 20th. Currently site to be determined. Not sure where at yet. I guess probably over at Wedgwood or
y-
the Redbird, one of those two places. I'm guessing.
Question, Dave.
Yeah.
Does does holdout contracts, are they based on the 2024 season or the 2023 season? Because John signed free agent Mason Rudolph to a 1-year expiring deal worth 18.86 million, which would make me have to pay Purdy a little more
No, it
otherwise.
won't. It's based off the top 10 salaries as of week one when the season starts. So free agent pickups and waiver claims that doesn't affect that.
That is good because that would be one way to mess with that season,
Yeah.
that system.
And
So that
Nick
is
just signed
smart.
in the holdout contracts are based on week one of the current season.
Got it. That makes perfect sense, and I'm assuming that's why that rule is in place. Because yeah, anybody could just, oh, I got extra salary money, and this guy's gonna hold out for a team I don't like. So good rule. I figured I'd double check. I'm like, wait a minute, that
You can look for the loophole if you want to bring that up at the owners meeting to see if you can't change the rule and get that passed for you. Go ahead and try
uh
it.
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't want that passed. That would just get people to do shady stuff, I think.
Yep.
So with that extra salary money. All right. I think that about wraps it up. I don't know about you, Dave. I'd like to get back to that Bama Michigan game.
Well, Bama did score just a little bit ago, so now it's 17-13. They still have a game, so it's going on.
Good stuff.
So, anyways, I just want to say thanks for the league. It's been a fun league. It's been challenging. Congrats to the playoff teams. Congrats to Sean and Rich again. I know we've said it a couple times, but it does take a lot of skill, some talent, and some luck to get into that championship game and actually walk away with a championship. Dustin, he's given up that trophy in a couple of weeks. Who knows what he's done with it in the past week, but it becomes a possession of Sean's for the upcoming year. So good kudos to him.
Yeah, it's been in a lot of leagues, and this is definitely one of the most, if not the most competitive league I've been in.
Yep.
16 teams definitely makes it more of a challenge, and of course, all the additional things that go into making it a dynasty league. But it's been fun. It's well managed, and it's competitive. That's all you can ask for. So, all right, guys, we're gonna get back to football. Dave, it's been fun streaming with you for the last several months and getting to know you a little bit. I'll look forward to seeing you at the managers meeting.
Yep. Been fun. I'll say go Bama tonight. I'm sure I'll probably get some hate mail over that one, but anyways.
I can't believe that I'm rooting for Michigan, but it sure beats rooting for Bama.
So
All right,
anyways,
guys.
sign us
Happy
out.
New Year. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy the game tonight.
See you guys.
Games. See ya.